Mine own will come to me. I like to repeat this magic formula over and over. It is not provable. The deepest truths of life never are. The creeds of the world that have led men up out of barbarism into civilization, out of war into law, out of lust into love, are all inherently dubitable. We do not reach those sublime conclusions that transform our lives by building Babel towers with bricks of logic, for the end of all such work is confusion of tongues. We fly to them by the airplanes of faith. We believe them. We do not know them. And the best things of existence are believed, not known. We believe them because we are drawn to them, because something in them appeals to something in us. We believe them for much the same kind of reason that impels us to love one woman. The most usable and persuasive wisdom has never been included in the encyclopedias. It is felt by simple hearts, as sunshine is felt. It comes to us by affinities and repulsions as mysterious, yet as potent and undeniable as electricity. So mine own will come to me. Unhasting, my reward approaches. Behind the mists of tomorrow stands my throne, made ready. My place is prepared for me. In due time I shall occupy it, and all the world consent. Destiny makes no mistakes. It is not blinded by fear or favour. Every man shall receive his penny, and I mine. The great shepherd never loses a sheep. I shall not want. In my closet will always be clothes enough, in my pantry food enough, in my bank money enough, in my acquaintance friends enough, to last me my time, as long as I am needed in this world. I shall not worry. Mine own will come to me. I shall not strain nor chafe. I shall not drop into the weakness of petulance. I shall not allow the silly fevers of premonition. I shall not poison my strength by doubt. Why should I, when mine own will surely come to me? Mine own will doubtless not be what I fancy. What it will be is no business of mine. All time I spend in speculating on what it may be is wasted and breeds disappointment. Mine is the simpler task, just to do my work, to find the great cosmic laws and heed them, to love and to be happy. For mine own will come to me. It is on its way. It is stepping surely down from the future, and one day will open the door of the present and come in, and I shall be satisfied. Dad. Dear Dad, I am writing this to you, though you have been dead 30 years. From your seat in the place beyond, I hope you can see these lines. I feel I must say some things to you, things I didn't know when I was a boy in your house, and things I was too stupid to say. It's only now, after passing through the long, hard school of years, only now, when my own hair is grey, that I understand how you felt. I must have been a bitter trial to you. I was such an ass. I believed my own petty wisdom, and I know now how ridiculous it was compared to that calm, ripe, wholesome wisdom of yours. Most of all, I want to confess my worst sin against you. It was the feeling I had that you did not understand. When I look back over it now, I know that you did understand. You understood me better than I did myself. Your wisdom flowed around mine like the ocean around an island. And how patient you were with me. How full of long-suffering and kindness. And how pathetic it now comes home to me were your efforts to get close to me, to win my confidence, to be my pal. I wouldn't let you. I couldn't. What was it held me aloof? I don't know. But it is tragic, that wall that rises between a boy and his father, and their frantic attempts to see through it and climb over it. I wish you were here now, across the table from me, just for an hour, so that I could tell you how there's no wall anymore. I understand you now, Dad, and God, how I love you and wish I could go back and be your boy again. I know now how I could make you happy every day. I know how you felt. Well, it won't be long, Dad, till I am over, and I believe you'll be the first one to take me by the hand and help me up the further slope. And I'll put in the first 1,000 years or so, making you realize that not one pang or yearning you spent on me was wasted. It took a good many years for this prodigal son, and all sons are in a measure prodigal, to come to himself. But I've come. I see it all now. I know that the richest, most priceless thing on earth, and the thing least understood, is that mighty love and tenderness and craving to help which a father feels toward his boy. For I have a boy of my own, and it is he that makes me want to go back to you and get down on my knees to you. Up there somewhere in the silence, hear me, Dad, and believe me. The March of the Shadows. I went to see my friend in the hospital. He had been there a month, with a bad foot. His only locomotion was being lifted from his chair to his bed and back. When I called, I found him sitting in the twilight looking out of the west window. "Why in the dark?" I inquired. "Don't light the light," he said. "Come and sit down. I am tired of reading. I have been now 5 hours in this chair. I am watching the march of the shadows. Look, they are filling the street, crawling all over the houses, rubbing out the sharp outlines of the picture everywhere. Men are attacking with street lamps, but it is useless. They only make stronger shadows. The dark is oozing over the sky. It has faded all the red and yellow clouds into a dull lead. Shadows, the unconquerable shadows. Before them the roaring city becomes still. The streets empty. Men flee, take refuge a little while under artificial light, then surrender and sleep. Darkness at last has its way with us. All the human race, all but a thin edge, inhabit Shadowland. Only about 1 billion are alive. Billions and billions have disappeared into oblivion. The mighty past is all shadow. Think of it. Kings and bishops and conquerors, poets and lovers and adventurers, all so eternally quiet now, in that soundless land. The magnificent ones, great Caesar, Timur and Ramesses, Napoleon and French Louis, are but dim shapes against the dimmer background of unremembered myriads. See, the shadows invade my room. They are under the bed, behind the wardrobe, and huddle in every corner. As the rim of night creeps over the earth, so the rim of oblivion creeps over history. This fringe of light, the present, continually drops off into the twilight past. All that exists is steadily being precipitated into the non-existent. Shadows invade the mind. We forget. We forget. Loves, hopes, work, beauty, pain, all drop and flutter down, like leaves, into the indistinguishable mould. The shadows swallow the creeds. What men once fought over, they now smile at, or forget. The shadows invade our bodies. The teeth go, eyes dim, legs weaken. We are on our way back to dust, pilgrims of the night. The shadows. They are so silent and so inevitable. "Not a very cheerful mood you're in," I said. "Come, come," he answered. "Do not intrude your cheap optimism of health upon the exquisite melancholy of sickness. There are moods when tears are far sweeter than laughter. The march of the shadows is not without a certain imperial beauty, and tenderness too. Is not forgetful death like a great mothering bird gathering her troubled fledglings to her soft-feathered bosom? There is a beautiful passage in Landor's Aesop and Rhodope that I recall. There are no fields of amaranth on this side of the grave. There are no voices, O Rhodope, that are not soon mute, however tuneful. There is no name with whatever emphasis of passionate love repeated, of which the echo is not faint at last." Half science. There is a kind of bastard science which is very dangerous. It gets a glimpse of the great law of the survival of the fittest. It explains so many things, and the apprentice mind in its enthusiasm imagines it explains everything. It does not. The survival of the fittest, the struggle for existence, and the whole law that the physically weak are exterminated and the physically strong survive, all this is true only up to a certain point. It is true of tigers and tomcats. It is not true of human beings. When man appeared in the history of evolution, he brought another element into the arena, the moral element. Not to reckon with this moral power is not to be a scientist, but a half-scientist. The German mind is half-scientific. That is what ails it. It conceives that the final triumph will rest with the big blonde beast, with the men of muscle and ferocity, with those who thrust aside all motives of pity and gentleness and concentrate on material force. The saying that God is on the side of the strongest battalions is a sample of this half-reasoning. God is on the side of truth, honor, humaneness, and love, and in the end these gentle powers shall overcome. That is what Jesus meant when he said that the meek shall inherit the earth. And that is what the half-baked mind sneers at, neither indeed can believe. But just the same, civilization means the superiority of the moral forces and the eventual subjugation of all brute force. The present war is a struggle between the moral and the brute ideas. Civilization is not a working out of materialistic laws. It is the mastery and direction of those laws by a spiritual, non-material something called man. The Kings. Universal democracy does not mean the wiping out of all grades among men, bringing every person down to an equality of commonplaceness. This idea is the product of ignorant and timid minds. The motive force of democracy is not envy. Democracy glowers at present-day great folk, not because it does not believe in aristocracy, but because it does believe in real aristocracy, and is out of patience with humbug superiority. The plutocrat of New York, the hereditary noble of London, and the kings of Europe, we do not feel pleasant toward them simply because they have no rational right to their glory. There always have been, and will be, genuine kings of men, leaders, rulers, all the more powerful the less power they have. To them, the common man is proud to look up and to say, "Master." But these are the very kind which would have more opportunity under democracy than under privilege. Such are Dante, Shakespeare, Bacon, Lincoln, Gladstone, Mazzini, Wagner, Beethoven, Bach, Francis of Assisi, Luther, Wesley, Socrates, Plato, Kant, Pasteur, Metchnikoff, Koch, and the like, and, over all, the King of Kings, the carpenter's son of Nazareth, whose short life influenced mankind more than any battle, any dynastic change, any discovery. We want the cheap pewter kings of artificial convention to get out and give this kind a chance.